So Anthropic just updated their biggest model, the top of the line one, and this is the one they bring out when they want to show off what's possible. And this time the jump is actually real. And here's what changed.
Here's the thing. Normally, when a lab ships a new flagship, it gets smarter and the price goes up. That's the deal we've all quietly accepted. This time, they did the opposite. Opus 5 is the new top of the line, and it costs half of what their last one did. So let's start with the money, because that's the part that actually changes what you can build. Opus 5 runs $5 in, 25 out per million tokens. Fable 5, the model that held the crown until yesterday, 12 and 60, so you're paying less than half on input and well under half on output. And Opus 4.8 set at 6 and 30, which means the new one's cheaper than the model it replaces too. There's also a fast mode. It runs about 2.5 times the normal speed and it costs double. So if you're shipping something where latency is the product, you've got that option without dropping to a weaker model. Which brings us to the obvious question, what did they cut to get the price down?
Quick word on the benchmarks. They are the test scores you see on every launch, and they're useful, but only half of the story. A model can have an amazing score and still be bad at your real work. So, my rule is check the numbers, but then test it on your own tasks. Always do both.
Here's the number that matters most. On CursorBench, at max effort, Opus 5 finishes within 0.5% of Fable 5. 0.5% for half the money. That's the whole launch in one line. And against the model it actually replaces, it's not even close. On Frontier Bench, Opus 5 doubles the score of Opus 4.8, not 10% better, double. On the reasoning side, it gets weirder. On the RKey3 test, Opus 5 scores 3 times higher than the next best model out there, not 3%, 3 times. And it keeps going in places you wouldn't expect. On computer use, it beats Fable 5 at a third of the cost. On automation tasks, it clears about 1.5 times the pass rate of its rivals at the same price. On organic chemistry, it's 10 points ahead of Opus 4.8. And on protein prediction, almost 8. Okay, so what does any of this actually mean for you?
So here's why it actually matters. Every time a model gets better at this stuff, more work moves within a reach. A job that used to take a whole team, now a one person can do it in one afternoon. And that's the real story here, not the benchmarks.
Start with where you get it. If you're paying for Claude Max, Opus 5 is your default model now. You don't have to do anything. If you're on Pro, it's the strongest one you can pick. It's in Claude Code, it's in Cowork, and it's on the API from day one. And here's the practical way to think about it. The old habit was to save the flagship for the hard stuff and route everything else to a cheap model, because running the flagship all day just costs too much. At $5 in, that math changes. A lot of the work you were routing away, you can just stop routing. One quick note, then I'm done. If you want to test this against the other models without opening 5 accounts, that's the thing I build. Apex API is one key that gets you Opus 5, Gemini, the GPT family, plus image, video, and audio. One bill, and you can see what every call costs you. So that's Opus 5, near the top of the charts at half the price of the model that got there first, and it's already sitting in the plan you're paying for. Test it on your own work before you trust anyone's benchmarks. If this helped, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.